Good evening, barflies and lounge lizards, and welcome to Glow in the Dark Cinema. And tonight we'll be discussing Futureworld from 1976. Directed by Richard Heffron, Futureworld is a sci-fi mystery and the follow-up to the 1973 classic Westworld. It tells the story of the Delos Corporation, who have reopened their highly immersive, android-filled theme park. This time with some new lands, including the space-themed Futureworld. In order to get over the bad press related to that little androids going crazy and killing a bunch of guests incident from a few years before, Delos has invited two reporters in to review the park, one of which had written an expose about the previous little robotic faux pas. Soon the reporters discover that things aren't what they seem and find themselves a part of a major conspiracy. Delos isn't quite the innocent, though negligent, entity it was before. As mentioned, Futureworld is more of a mystery film and only features one scene with killer robots, this time a set of Japanese warriors, and as far-fetched as it may seem that the theme park would reopen after such a tragedy, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I mean, look at the time Minnie Mouse went berserk and took out 12 nuns and a Wayne Newton impersonator. Disney was open an hour later. Director Richard Heffron was mostly a TV director, and he would go on to direct V, The Final Battle. Futureworld features an almost entirely new cast, and said cast includes Peter Fonda as our lead reporter and a fellow who knows how to rock a wonderfully 70s jumpsuit. Fonda was a 1960s counterculture icon and appeared in films such as Easy Rider and Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. That was you, Jack. Then we have Blythe Danner as our other reporter. Danner didn't do much in the world of sci-fi, but she was in the X-Files movie. Next up is Arthur Hill as the head of Delos. Hill was a Canadian actor who snack bar patrons probably know best from the Andromeda Strain. Then, as the obviously shady lead scientist of Delos, we have character actor John P. Ryan, who is probably best known for either Larry Cohen's It's Alive and its sequel, or one of the greatest action movie villain takedowns of all time, Death Wish 4.
I warned you! I killed him!
And finally, I wanted to mention a brief appearance by Yul Brynner as the gunslinger. And that's not a spoiler, because it's right there in the opening credits. But unfortunately, the scene is not the triumphant return of the gunslinging android that pretty much everyone wanted. Not only is it a dream sequence, but it's also a very bizarre love scene that really doesn't make any sense. There are some really cool and interesting effects in the film. I was particularly impressed with this chess scene. I mean, look at that. That's some practical awesomeness right there. Futureworld is credited as the first major motion picture to use 3D CGI. And this is yet another with a bunch of people credited for the effects. But I did want to mention a few that caught my eye, including Gene Grigg and Michael Wood. Both have some really groovy stuff on their resumes, with Grigg having worked on The Ice Pirates, Police Academy, and Hang 'em High, and Wood having worked on Star Trek V and Return of the Jedi. Then there was Ed Catmull, who worked on the actual CGI. Catmull worked on The Wrath of Khan, and would go on to co-found Pixar. Unlike the first film, Futureworld had no real involvement from Michael Crichton, and rather than being produced by MGM, the production company decided to go with Logan's Run instead. So Futureworld ended up being released by AIP, but there was still an MGM connection there. Supposedly, the Futureworld bar was actually a redressed apartment set from Logan's Run, but try as I might, I could not confirm that one. And speaking of, well, the future, according to the giant check in the beginning of the film, Futureworld takes place in the year 1985, and a day at the park costs $1,200. Futureworld is often credited as Yul Brynner's final film, but it appears that the Italian film Death Rage was his actual final film. The score for Futureworld was by composer Fred Karlin, who did the music for Westworld as well. He also wrote the music for the song For All We Know, which would become a big hit for the Carpenters in 1971. Wacky? This one isn't wacky, but it sure features some odd and psychedelic imagery, especially related to the dream sequence. But clearly no one was on any illegal substances at all whilst designing those scenes. And then there's this. Is it just me, or is there an unusually high amount of mustaches present? Just saying. Futureworld has been released on VHS, Betamax, DVD, Blu-ray, and Laserdisc. This is actually a pretty decent follow-up to Westworld, and definitely does its own thing, not feeling like a rehash of the first film. And though it doesn't reach nearly the same heights as its predecessor, it's still a fairly solid sci-fi mystery that I think would be better regarded had it not followed one of the best sci-fi films of the 1970s. And that's all the time we have for this weekend. So, Mr. Fonda, I heard you did some binge watching of the channel.
Took me a week to get over that.
And I've heard worse responses. Today even. Please like, comment, subscribe, watch the skies, and
Have sex with a robot!
that's absolutely not what I was gonna say. But if the skin-tight Mr. Ring cosplay fits.
This is 2XL, the electronic robot who talks to your kids.
Who's the fastest pitcher? The smallest man? The biggest fish?
He even has a sense of humor.
Know the rope joke? Well, skip it.
You can get program tapes on anything, from science fiction to games to sports.
Baseball's fastest pitcher is Nolan Ryan. Correct. I'm impressed. You are very smart for a human.
2XL by Mego.
This is Super Dennis. Jeans fear him. Seams split, zippers fall, rivets pop. So we challenged him to try to destroy Super Denims, the incredibly tough jeans from JCPenney. The fabric, a rugged, heavyweight, long-lasting denim. The seams clamped tight with extra strong thread, stress points riveted. And most important of all, the knees are specially reinforced. Super Denim jeans. They're built to take the kind of punishment your Super Dennis dishes out.
Want a punch in the nose? Says who?
These are knuckle busters with sound effects record. When you're fighting with knuckle busters, one punch in the nose and zap, back the other guy goes. You fake him with a left, throw a knuckle buster right to the nose and zap, back he goes. You need good timing with knuckle busters. Soon as you see an opening, give him a shot to the nose and zap, back he goes. Knuckle busters, the two-fisted fighter game with sound effect record from Hasbro.
Did you ever dream of traveling in a time machine? Going back to the ages of adventure? Perhaps to find yourself careening into a lusty, roaring town of the old western frontier, rubbing shoulders with legendary characters right out of Bret Hart and Mark Twain. The sights and sounds of yesterday, today. You won't need to find a time machine for all this. Just come for a visit to Knott's Berry Farm. Across another time zone into the 18th century, and you are witness to the colorful pageant of the American Revolution. Knott's Berry Farm's a great adventure for the entire family. Plenty of free parking.